Welcome back from my channel. Here is me. Okay, I did.
Hey there, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Shalita here. So how's everyone doing? February is now over. We are moving ourselves into March. So did everyone have a good reading month in February? Do we have any 5 stars? Did we have any DNFs? Let me know down in the comments. For February, I had picked out 10 books to kind of choose from. I wasn't committed to reading all 10 of them. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I did want to give myself this wide berth of options. So for February, I did not get near the 10, but I did read 4 books in February, and 2 of which were on my 25 and 25 list. So very proud of myself for that. I'm happy that, you know, I was able to prioritize some of those books. So in this video, we will talk about the 4 books that I read this month. Hopefully this video won't be too long. So if I can keep it short, we will talk about the books that I plan to read in March, because quite a few of them are books that I had picked for February. So they're already on the cart, might as well include those, right? But before we jump into things, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And without further ado, let's jump into things. So the first book that I read in February was The Deep by Rivers Solomon. So this book is a historical fantasy, and it follows our main character, Yetu. So Yetu is a member of the Wajinru. And the Wajinru are descendants of pregnant African slaves who were thrown overboard from slave ships. Essentially, they have evolved into something akin to like mermaids, but not like Ariel, you know. No, they literally have like teeth for eating seals and, you know, big game in the water. So, you know, not to say that these are not, you know, pretty beings, but, you know, their teeth are meant for eating flesh, okay? So the Wajinru live, you know, deep in the ocean, like, you know, thousands of feet below sea level type situation. You know, they do not go to the surface. Yetu is the historian for her people. And the Wajinru essentially they have no memory of their lives, of their past, of their people, you know, not even their own memory of their own lives, much less the lives of their ancestors. As the historian, Yetu she's the keeper of the memories of her people. All their memories, all the history, the individuals, each individual's them as a community, the memories and the history of their ancestors. She has all that knowledge, and she keeps that knowledge. All the good, all the bad. Once a year, they hold a ceremony called the Remembering. So during this ceremony, it's a very sacred ceremony. So during this ceremony, the entire community comes and gathers together in what they call the womb. And it's, you know, it's very symbolic. You know, the womb is in, you know, like being inside the mother, you know, receiving your nourishment. So inside this womb, Yetu is providing them with the nourishment, and that nourishment for them are the memories. So once a year, she shares the memories of their past, their present, you know, everything with the community. And it's almost like, it almost makes you think of like when you think about it, it's almost like a group facilitated, you know, therapy session. You know, she is the one providing them with the answers and guiding them through these memories, because the vast majority of them, especially for, you know, the memories regarding their ancestors, the vast majority of them are, you know, rooted in pain. You know, these are painful memories. So she is there to give them these memories back, but also guide them through it, you know, guide them through processing it. And, you know, as a community, they are together sharing these memories and providing each other with comfort and solace. And then at the end of the ceremony, Yetu takes those memories back. When we start out the story, that is, you know, essentially they're preparing for this ceremony, right? Yetu's been doing this since she was like 14. And she's now 30, and it's just taken a toll on her. And she's just like I can't do this anymore. Like this is killing me. The weight of these memories. And not only that, it's not just that it's the weight of the memories, but she's like a medium. Like, she is experiencing these memories. And she gets to the point where she's losing her sense of reality, her sense of time. And, you know, she gets in these flashbacks, and her mind is someplace else, and then her body, you know, might end up in, you know, in a precarious situation. She literally almost like gets attacked by some sharks or whatever in the beginning because she was trapped in a memory, and she had no, you know, no sense of time and space as far as where she was herself, her, you know, her actual body, herself. So yeah, so we kind of follow this journey, for Yetu, and her need to find freedom and peace and a sense of self. So my greatest takeaways from this was, you know, is that we can't run from our history. You know, it's heartbreaking, it's painful, but without it, you know, we don't know where we've come from. How can we be, you know, proud of how far we've come as a people, as a nation, if we continue to try to hide where it all began? You know, I can't celebrate the end line. I can't celebrate the finish line if I don't even know where the hell it began, you know? So I want to read like a couple little excerpts, and then we'll move on to the next book. It says, let's talk about Yetu. It says, she understood why all the historians before Basha performed the remembrance to melody. That impulse to salvage a speck of beauty from tragedy with a dirge. But Yetu wanted people to remember how she remembered, with screams. She had no wish to transform trauma to performance, to parade what she'd come to think of as her own tragedies for entertainment. So for Yetu, it's not that she felt like them, you know, making a, you know, performance out of it. It's not that she felt like they were making a spectacle of it, but she felt like you're not getting the impact of what our people went through, you know, by putting a little catchy tune to it. No, she's like, hey, you need to know how painful this was. I'm not gonna give you, you know, a little, you're getting this with no chaser, baby. You're getting the full effect of this. I'm here for you to guide you through this, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat what the hell happened to our people. So I get that. You know, she wants to make sure that everyone knows, hey baby, this isn't playtime. This is real. This really happened. And this is what it felt like for our people. So, yeah. You know, I just wrote in here that, you know, no one protected our ancestors from that pain. So why like cheapen their memory by making it more palatable to you? You know, this it's painful. It's painful, but it's necessary to discuss it and try to view it through their eyes. So let's see, page 19. So it says, Yetu might like to stay in a remembering forever, but she couldn't. What would happen to her physical form, neglected in the deep? How long would it take her Amaba, that's her grandmother or her mom, how long would it take her Amaba to find her body? Would she ever? Without Yetu's body, they couldn't transfer the history. And without the history, the Wajenru would perish. You know, so much of our history is lost to time, lost due to a lack of documentation, you know. And a lot of our history is just passed down, you know, verbally, just like I'm sure, you know, a lot of like Native American history is just passed down through stories. They're just passed along, you know, generation by generation. Without Yetu, if she died, then that's it. That's game over for their people. They basically, you know, will cease to exist. They'll just be, you know, floating bodies out there because they won't know, you know, who they are, where they've come from. There's even a scene in this where it's a little bit before the ceremony, and there's, you know, one of the Wajenru starts freaking out, and he's like who am I? Because, you know, their memory fades. And it had been so long since the ceremony, it actually had gone past time. You know, the ceremony is late at this point. You know, it's been longer than a year. And this person had completely forgot who they even were. So it's important to know where you came from so you can pass that down to future generations. All right, so, and then let's see, page 147. It says, all these things had made Yetu. It wasn't all pretty, but it was hers. It was a choice between the history and emptiness. Maybe Yetu wanted the history. She'd always complained that the rememberings erased her, that Yetu didn't exist because the ancestors took up too much space inside of her. That was all still true, but what did it matter whether she existed if she was alone, if all that was around her was abyss? So I just put, you know, without our history, you know, who are we? What are we? All right. And then lastly, so this is Yetu and her Amaba. So, you know, Yetu is basically, she's come back. She's like, you know, hey, like, I'm gonna give me all the memories back. I'm ready. Give it all to me. And so her Amaba says, you didn't throw them away. You lived. You did what you needed to do to make sure you lived. Our survival honors ancestors more than any tradition. You know, sometimes a burden is just too great and you have to set it down for a while. You got to put it down. Yeah, but this was just a really good book, really thought-provoking, really emotional and powerful. Just, you know, a great analysis of, you know, our history and where we come from. Just a great look at that, you know, your history and where you come from. The Deep by River Solomon. Highly recommend it. I have not listened to the song, but at the end of the book, they do a very good, like, yeah, and the afterward, they do a very good job of, like, explaining the motivation behind the book, the motivation behind the song, and how it all came to be. So, excellent read. The next book that I read was Real by Kennedy Ryan. This was a 5-star read. This book, I highly recommend you, you know, read my reading vlog, the reading vlog before this video, because it is all about this book. And this book was just stunning, amazing. It's Kennedy Ryan, so y'all know this woman can write. She knows how to write a love story. She knows how to write about life, about people and their lives. And yeah, this was just phenomenal. So this book, if you want to talk tropes, I guess you could say this is a forbidden romance / workplace romance. Not a historical romance, though it does have some historical aspects to it. Okay, so we have our main characters, Neva and Cannon. Speaking of the reading vlog, y'all, I spent the vast majority of that video calling this man by the wrong name. But yes, his name is Cannon. His mama named him after a camera. So Neva is an up-and-coming actress, and then Cannon is a director. Baby, this is Black love. These are Black characters, okay? So Cannon is writing off of the success of a documentary that he made about his mother. I think he even won some awards for it. It was that stellar. He is set to film a biopic about an unknown Black singer from the 1930s, you know, from the time of the Harlem Renaissance. And the reason that this singer is, you know, unknown is because like many, you know, Black creatives, especially during that time period, she didn't get her just due. He wants to bring her story to light. He wants to bring her story to the forefront for the world to see. One night, he happens to see Neva performing in a play, and he decides she's the one. She's my star. You know, she's gonna pull off this character. She's gonna bring the character of Desi to life. And he kind of faces an uphill battle with the production companies, or, you know, the Hollywood powers that be who are going to help fund his movie, because she's an unknown actress and they don't want to take a chance on her. But Cannon is like, no, this woman has talent. This is who I want for this role, you know. Take it or leave it, kiss my ass. This is my choice. This is what I want. This is my movie, you know. Eventually there's a little bit of attraction that forms between these two. And they try as they might, they try to fight those feelings, right? Because he knows, hey, he had a little bit of a scandal with his previous movie, and he wants this project to go really well. And he knows how things, you know, if something were to get out, something were to leak, if they were to get involved, he knows that it's gonna look really bad for what, because he's the director, she's the actress. And that's just, you know, that's like sleeping with your boss, right? That's inappropriate. Not only that, I love how much, I mean, this man really respects her. And from the beginning, he recognized her potential. He recognized her talent, and he stood 10 toes down for this girl. But he recognizes if they get involved, you know, it could potentially hurt her career. You know, this could look bad for her. This, you know, people are going to judge her. We know how Hollywood is. We know, you know, gossip magazines, tabloids, and things like that. And he doesn't want that for her. You know, he doesn't want her career to get tarnished, you know, when she's just now getting her, you know, when her career is just now getting up off the ground. Yeah, so we kind of follow that little journey, like, will they, won't they? And, I mean, clearly they do. Clearly they do, right? So this was an excellent book, y'all. It was like this Hollywood romance. There was so much, you know, yearning in the beginning, this tension, you know, the will they, won't they? And then it was this passion. And my man was, I'm telling you, this Cannon is he's the man you want in your corner. I mean, like I said, he was so supportive of her from the jump, you know? And just to watch their love story blossom, it was just such a beautiful story. There is a chronic illness representation in here, and it is done so well. I mean, Kennedy Ryan, she really does her research. I love how multifaceted her characters are. You know, they have history, you know, they have, you know, illnesses, they have things that they are struggling with and contending with outside of the romantic relationship. And I mean, that's real life. right? These are like real people. People have things that they are going through besides, you know, trying to fall in love and get married. I mean, so we're getting that. We're getting this chronic illness representation. We're getting a freaking history lesson throughout this book. And it's done so well. And it's done in a way that makes you want to do your own research. I mean, there were moments in here where I was like, you know, she'd mention a performer or, a performer or a dance troupe or something like that from, you know, the Harlem Renaissance. And I'm like, instantly, I'm like pulling out my phone, like looking it up, and I'm watching this video of like, you know, almost like the originators of the Lindy Hop. I love that in the story, the conflict that threatened their relationship wasn't actually each other. It was more external factors. So, you know, we had her health to contend with, but also there was family drama. This family drama had been going on for over a decade. You know, the problem wasn't them. It was everything else. But y'all, that family drama, and 10 years later, you still can't apologize? You still have no accountability for your actions? To say, you know, with family like that, who needs enemies, right? Who needs them? Secondhand trauma is real, and there is a scene in this book, and y'all, it broke me. But it also made me think about the mental health of like actors and how they are, you know, treated, you know, during the time that they are working on a project, and after that. Neva has to perform a pretty traumatic scene, you know, pretty emotional scene, and it wrecks her. Cannon, you know, he's like, hey, you know, we should have had some therapists on hand, you know, I generally do that. And it just slipped my mind. And it just made me think, like, you know, our directors, our production companies, you know, people involved in these major projects, these movies and series that have such huge emotionally draining and emotionally taxing topics. You know, are they offering, you know, counseling and therapy and things like that for their actors, and not just the actors, I mean, you know, anybody that's on set, anybody that has a hand in those projects, are they looking out and providing mental health services? Because if they're not, they should be, you know? Yeah, great book, 5 stars. I see myself rereading this at some point. I don't know if this year, maybe next year, but definitely I can see myself rereading this because it was such an excellent book. So the next book that I read was Grounds for Romance by Mel Walker. And this is a romance by a Black author. New to me, kind of found him searching for Black authors on Amazon. And I mean, he's an indie author, but he seems to have a pretty extensive catalog. So I think I rated this 3 stars. This was mid. Like, it was an okay book. It was kind of cute, but I mean, it was decent. So this is kind of a small town romance slash forbidden slash insta love, and it's a novella, so it's just a little over, oh wait a minute, that's a sneak, so it's under 200 pages. There's a sneak peek for another book. I didn't read the sneak peek. It's under 200 pages, so you know, if you're a fast reader, you can make light work of this pretty quickly. So this book follows our main characters, Zara and Devin. So Devin is an up-and-coming actor, and Zara, she is a designer by heart. You know, she's a fashion designer by heart, but She's kind of stuck in a job at this point that doesn't really appreciate her. So Devin is kind of on assignment. So he's landed this gig as he's landed a role as a barista. But he has to do a little bit of training for the role. But not only does he have to do a little bit of training, he has to do it almost in secret. So the main star of the movie wants him to basically get into character, get into this role by working at a coffee house. But the thing is, she doesn't want anyone to know that he's an actor. She wants him to fully immerse himself in this experience and kind of go undercover boss type situation. And Zara is a regular at this coffee shop. So anyway, so they have a little bit of a meet cute. They kind of run into each other. They kind of hit it off, have this little flirty banter back and forth. And eventually it gets to a point where he wants to tell her, but he knows he can't because that will jeopardize his career. So we're just kind of following along their little relationship. It's a novella, so things move quickly. Like I said, it has that insta love to it. I was like, girl, you've only known this man like 2 days. How is he already in your house? I think that was my biggest qualm about it. Was like this all takes place in like less than a week. How y'all falling in love in less than a week? Harpo, who this woman? Like, y'all don't know each other. It was, so I feel like if they had, well, I mean, I guess the premise was 7 days. So I feel like maybe if they'd given him more time on the job, maybe if we had some time jumps, that this could have been a lot cuter. But that short time span, 7 days, absolutely not. You guys are not in love. This is lust. Stop playing with me. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more intention put into the characteristics of these characters. Especially with regard to their features. So black hair, you know, black women's hair, black men's hair, it is really important to us. And I feel like he missed the mark a little bit on this. So I think if, you know, in the future when writing black characters, you know, maybe spending a little bit of time in the, you know, going to a beauty salon, you know, to a beauty salon that caters to like natural hair, to black women's hair care, you know, maybe talking to family members and things like that, just sitting in on conversations about hair care, maybe asking questions about the verbiage and lingo and things like that we use and products and things like that. I think that would really be beneficial. He mentions a haircut on the, like, he mentions Devin wearing twists, and that's cool. And then he mentions, you know, he mentions Zara having an afro. And I'm like, you can see that, you know, like her hair is curly and things like that. So when she goes out for date night, what did he say? He's like, oh, I went and got my afro touched up. I can definitely tell you, we're not just running around here with her afro's blown out. Okay, you know, if she's blown it out, she might be getting a silk press, getting it straightened, or she might have, you know, did a wash and go and diffused her curls for her curly afro. I think he even said something about her like spraying some kind of like oil sheen or something. Baby, we don't use that no more. We know better now. We don't do that anymore. So Devin has like twists, and then he's like, oh, well, he went and got a choir boy haircut. I'm like, what the hell is a choir boy haircut? So I asked Bae, I'm like, what's a choir boy haircut? And he's like, I don't know. I Googled it. Google's bamboozled. Google doesn't even know. Mel, you know, maybe hang out in a salon, hang out in a barbershop, you know, get some feedback in that respect, you know, do a little research there. The next time you decide to use, you know, write about black characters with natural hair, you know. So anyway, decent book. Not too bad. All right, and then the last book that I read. The last book, y'all, Denise Williams is like she's definitely one of my favorite authors. Definitely. The Fastest Way to Fall by Denise Williams. This was such a cute book. And, you know, I started thinking, Denise Williams, what she does so well in her books is that she finds a way to broach heavy topics in a romance, but not have it be too heavy. Like, I love Kennedy Ryan's books. I love when they are heavy and they make me cry. And Brittany Cherry's books and how emotional they are and how they make me cry. But on the flip side, I love that Denise Williams somehow manages to tackle these tough topics but keep it light. Still keep the book light and fluffy. So I love them all equally for their abilities to do those. You know, you can see the intention in all those authors, you know. Like, she intended for this to tackle something heavy but also keep it on the light side. So this is a bit of a forbidden romance. I don't know that you can necessarily call it a workplace romance because they don't exactly realize their connection. So we have our main characters, Britta and Wes. So Britta works at a lifestyle magazine, and Britta is, by her own admission, you know, she's a fat girl. She's, you know, baby's always been in the corner. They put baby in the corner. She's an assistant at this lifestyle magazine, but she, you know, her passion is for writing, and she's just kind of struggled to make her voice heard. She's kind of struggled to be seen at this, you know, at this company. And then we have Wes, who is the CEO of this, of Fit Me. It is a health and fitness app. Health and fitness, like, coaching app. So Britta gets the opportunity to kind of collaborate on a piece with a coworker. So her coworker Claire is going to test out one app, and then Britta is tasked with testing out Wes's app. Wes ends up being Britta's coach, but Britta's going into this, you know, so this is supposed to be like a non-biased, you know, investigative piece, right? So she's supposed to be testing out the coaching app and documenting her journey. And it's supposed to be like a real 360 all-encompassing type situation. You know, she's not just documenting her fitness journey, but she's documenting her life and all that while on this journey. Everything, it's an online coaching app, right? So everything's supposed to run through the app. They're not supposed to, you know, really use give out personal information. You know, it's supposed to be really I don't want to say non-personal, but like I said, no personal information, right? You know, first names or screen names only type situation. Well, they kind of hit it off, you know, just like with playful banter. And then it kind of leads to them kind of catching feelings a little bit, like, oh, hey, like, this person's funny. I really like them. They, you know, they start looking forward to chatting with each other. So they go from chatting on the app to somehow chatting outside of the app. And then something happens and they end up meeting in person. And we just kind of go from there, where they're both kind of struggling. Really, you know, mainly Britta is struggling because she's like, hey, I like this guy. Now, she doesn't realize he's the CEO, but she's like, hey, like, I really like him. But, you know, I'm putting my career at risk by, you know, kind of hanging out with him and filing for him. And then he, on the other hand, is also like, hey, I'm putting my, you know, I'm CEO of this company. I'm putting my entire company at risk. I'm putting my reputation at risk because I'm breaking the rules, meeting this person, you know, I'm meeting Britta, and then I'm falling for her. So, you know, so they both have a lot on the line. right? Stakes are high. They both stand to lose a lot if they get involved. Which is a romance book, so we know they're gonna get involved. We know that, right? This is such a fun, flirty. They are the banter. Denise Williams knows how to do like fun, flirty banter. I love it. I laughed and giggled quite often while reading this book. They were so cute. And not only that, a lot of the main characters from her previous books are involved in this. And I was just like, oh my God, my favorite characters, all my favorite couples are back. So that was so cute and refreshing to see that they're kind of it all comes together, right? Everybody's friends. As far as the heavy topics, so trigger warning, this does address substance abuse, child neglect, and disordered eating. So just be mindful when reading this. But a really, really fun, flirty book. Those are the books that I read in February. All right, so have you read any of these? Let me know down in the comments. If you read them, what did you think? How did you rate them? Well, moving on, let's fast forward to March. Let's talk about what we're going to read in March. So in my February TBR video, I had put that I wanted to do a reread of the Skyland series, specifically books 1 and book 2, because book 3 isn't out yet. I put that I wanted to, hold on, let me grab these. So in that video, I shared that I wanted to do a reread of Before I Let Go and This Could Be Us, because book 3 of the Skyland series is coming out in May. Guess what, guys? I got approved for the e-arc for Can't Get Enough. Yes. Y'all, so I had did the whole request thing through NetGalley. I had put in a request for that. I put in a request for Denise Williams' book and for S.A. Cosby's new book that's coming out in June. And I still haven't heard anything back about the S.A. Cosby book, but I got like almost like an instant rejection or instant denial for the Denise Williams book. Crickets as far as Kennedy Ryan's book, as far as y'all can't get it out. I hadn't heard anything back about Can't Let Go. And then I just kept seeing like people making these videos about, wanting to get arcs and, shooting their shot and things like that. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna shoot my shot. So I sent this email. I may even like screenshot it and put it in here, but I sent this email to the publishing company, and then to, I don't know if she's her publicist, or I don't know who she is exactly. I know her name, but somehow she was tagged on a Kennedy Ryan post, and so she's somebody important to Kennedy's career. So I tagged her, or I CC'd her on the email too. So I sent this email. I was like, look, I'm just gonna take my chances here, because I hadn't heard anything back from NetGalley, right? Then what was it, like last week? I think it was like Monday. I think it was like last Monday. I'm in here like making a cup of coffee, and I see this email pop up, email notification from NetGalley saying, you're approved for Can't Let Go, and I screamed. Y'all, I screamed. Later on, my daughter was like, why were you in there crying? I was like, girl, I was not in here crying. I screamed. I got approved. And then like 2 days later, I actually got an email directly from the publishing company. And, they were just talking about, I might insert a screenshot of that too, but, they were just like really moved by my email. They said it was like one of the most creative requests they'd ever seen. And and they were like, hey, we want to send you over, a link, for the arc. Which, so there it goes, So NetGalley sent me a link for it, and then so your girl got the e-arc. Your girl shot her shot. Your girl got approved. So super excited. All right, so I say all that to say, I decided, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and read these, because initially once I realized that I wasn't gonna get these done in February, and I was just gonna push these back. I was like, hey, I'll read Before I Let Go in March, and then I'll read This Could Be Us in April, and be ready for Can't Get Enough in May. But baby, I got that arc now, so I'm gonna do my darndest to read all 3 of these books this month. So I've already started rereading Before I Let Go. So yes, so all three books in the Skyland series. That's the plan for March. So, and we've talked about these books billion gajillion times. Before I Let Go is the first book in the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. And this is a second chance romance. We have Yasmin and Josiah. They are recently divorced, or they've been divorced for about 2 years now. Something traumatic happened in their marriage, and it basically contributed to their divorce. So at this point, they are co-parenting, and they are co-business owners. And then one thing leads to another, and the question becomes, is the love still there? Should we give this another shot? So they have to decide, are they willing to risk the normalcy that they've reached, this new normal that they've reached? Are they willing to risk that by taking another shot at their relationship? And, will the past rear its head again? Is love enough to jumpstart their relationship and keep them together? So that's the journey for that one. Then in This Could Be Us, this book follows Soledad. So these books they're standalones, but they're interconnected. So the women in these books, the main female characters, they are BFFs, right? So this one, This Could Be Us, follows the main character Soledad. So Soledad is a stay-at-home mom. She basically gave up her career after college so she could support her husband's career and raise their children, and keep the ship afloat at home, right? Her husband lands himself into some legal trouble, which then forces Soledad to basically have to get out there and learn to support herself and her daughters. So this is a book about self-love and self-discovery and finding yourself after, something traumatic, something challenging. So we have our main male character, Judah, who is, attracted to Soledad from the jump, but, their relationship is kind of forbidden in the sense that he's kind of her husband's enemy. This is an excellent book, but these are rereads, like I said, so I already know that these books are all that in a bag of chips. They're rereads, right? So, and then third book in the series, so the e-arc that I'll be reading is Can't Get Enough. Book number 3 in the Skyland series. So this book is going to follow their friend Hendrix. And so Hendrix is like the go-getter. She is the career-driven one. She's all about her career. I ain't got no man tying me down. I ain't got no kids tying me down. Not only is she focused on her career, but she's taking care of her mom, who has an illness. I don't know if they mentioned in the other books that it's dementia, but I do believe that it is some form of dementia. So we're gonna follow her journey to see if, if there's a man out there that can, you know, win this woman's heart. I can't wait. I cannot wait, y'all. I love this friend group so much. So to finally get Hendrix's story, you know, yes, my girl, it's her time. It's her turn. And that cover, y'all. I don't know where I'm gonna pop this up at. That cover, y'all. Look at her, okay? Those three. So 2 books, the E-Arc. All right, what is next? What is next? So like I said, I do want to kind of read. I don't want to say tackle. I want to read the books that I had already selected and put on my card for February. So that's what we're gonna do, right? Rather than pulling new things off. So one really important book that I definitely want to read this month is Blood Marked by Tracy Deonn. This is book 2 in the, what is this series called? The Legendborn cycle. So this series is based on the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So Bree is our main character, and she, along with the descendants of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, they're part of a secret society on the campus of the University of North Carolina. So this is a very like modern take on this, or it's a modern setting. So this is a fantasy set in a modern setting, and this is book 2, so it just kind of follows the journey from book 1. But I really want to read this one because book 3 is Oathbound, and it comes out this month. And I'm actually going to a midnight release party, so I am super excited. Yeah, first one. This is like my first real like book event, so I'm excited. Can't wait. But yeah, so like I said, we are just following the events of book 1. Can't really give anything away there. So excited for that one. Also on my list for this month, Their Vicious Games. This is a carryover from February. Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This is a young adult thriller, and it has been compared to Squid Games. Adina is a black student at a predominantly white elite school, high school. She gets into a skirmish with some of the other students, and basically her future is at risk. You know, she wants to go to an Ivy League school, but after this fight, you know, it could potentially impact, you know, her chances of getting into the school that she wants to. Her only possible potential saving grace is to enter into this competition that the school hosts every year. And like I said, it's a competition between the students. But Miss Adina is going to quickly learn that this is not just some game, that there are high stakes that can potentially be fatal. So I've heard great things about this. This one should be really good. And you know, this is one of my, I think this is on my 25 and 2025 list, so I definitely want to get to that. Next up is The Blueprint by Gianna Rashad. So this is a dystopian fiction, black author. Get into it. So this one follows our main character, Celine. And so Celine is living in like this alternate United States where basically black women's rights are pretty much not their own. Their lives are basically, you know, controlled by the government, you know, by an algorithm. So Celine is writing a biography about one of her ancestors, who she learns was actually a slave. She was a slave concubine for some pretty powerful men. We're going to, I guess, follow her journey in her timeline, but also, I guess, get a peek into her ancestors' story. So this one ought to be really good. I'm excited to read this one. This one been looking forward to for quite some time. So, and lastly, so this was a new release. I feel like this came out, I think it just came out this year. And I borrowed this one from the library. So I am hoping that I get to this. I'm hoping I can renew this several times over if need be. So this is Harlem Rhapsody. And this is by Victoria Christopher Murray. And this is a historical fiction. So this is set during the time of the Harlem Renaissance. This is actually about some of the big names that we may know from that time period and some lesser known characters. So these are real people. So this is a work of fiction, but at the same time, these are about real life people from our past. So this story follows our main character, Jessie Redmond Fawcett, who was she was a literary editor for a major black magazine back during the time of the Harlem Renaissance. So this story kind of follows her life and her journey in that role, and as she basically shapes and nurtures the careers of so many writers during that time, such as Langston Hughes. This also follows her relationship and her secret affair with W.E.B. Du Bois, the main editor of this magazine. So we're following her career, her life, and their relationship in this one. So this one ought to be a juicy read. So I imagine we're going to be tackling things such as, racism, sexism, in clearly the affair. So yeah, excited, especially after like reading Real and getting a peek into the, getting that small glimpse into the Harlem Renaissance. It'll be nice to get even more of a picture of those times. Well guys, that is all that I have for you. My battery's about to die, so I want to try to hurry up and film this little outro. All right, so got a little mixture of things going on here. All right, so that is all that I have for you today, guys. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends, bye. We're gonna hold up the stack of books that I actually read. Hopefully before I die.